So yeah, COVID-19 sucks. During this unprecedented movie release downtime, I'm talking about something very close to my heart. The single moment that destroyed the Hobbit Trilogy. It may surprise some of you, but I don't hate everything about these movies. My problem isn't that there's nothing redeeming at all. In fact, there's quite a few parts that I find fun, well acted, well written, visually striking, or even nice sounding about these movies. My problem also isn't the usual thing we hear. CGI orcs, lazy writing, shoehorned in characters, shoehorned in rivalries, shoehorned in conflict, shoehorned in love triangles. No, it's not that. These things are definitely an issue. Some are understandable, and some are completely unnecessary. Like really, really unnecessary. And I'm not just gonna rant about how they didn't create a note-for-note recreation of the book. Books and movies are completely different mediums, so that doesn't really work. That said, if you need to change things to make a narrative work on screen, you actually have to make it work on screen. And they didn't. Adding the appendix stuff from Lord of the Rings, totally cool. It's official Tolkien material. It happened during this period of the story, and the movie release provided a great opportunity to expand the story in a special way. But changing the crucial central theme of the story? Not cool. And that's what we're going to be looking at. Now, in order to talk about this properly, I first need to look at the one thing that the trilogy does best, and that's Smaug and Bilbo. These scenes are captivating, suspenseful, unnerving, and tonally spot on. The sheer fact that they were able to create these scenes this well is just astounding. The scale of Smaug compared to Bilbo, how terrifying the dragon is, how in Bilbo's shoes we feel throughout the scenes, and the dialogue between the two of them. A great deal of which is taken directly from the book. It's an incredible feat, and here's the point. Dragons. In mythology, dragons were this unfathomable foe. They couldn't be harmed, they could destroy anything, they pose an absolutely impossible challenge, and that's what made the hero of the story such an impactful character. A knight venturing off to face something like this with no hope of victory but venturing off all the same? It's compelling. But in The Hobbit, we don't have a knight, we have Bilbo, an even more unlikely challenger. Anyone looking at a bout like this knows exactly how it ends, but somehow he's able to go toe-to-toe with him in a battle of wits. The scales are one-sided, and Smaug knows he's got the upper hand. But with Bilbo's small size and the ring he's got on him, he's able to barely get away and so best the dragon. Smaug, now unable to reach or find Bilbo or the dwarves, connects the dots to figure out that they were aided by the men of Lake Town, and so ventures off to let loose his anger upon them as a cure for his recently obliterated ego. So, he's supposed to be enraged by this inescapably small being that somehow bests him. This drives him so mad that he releases his built-up rage upon Lake Town, a decision that inadvertently leads to his death. In way less words, the little dude outsmarts the big dude who can't handle it, gets really angry, and then levels the nearby settlement, and also dies in the process. Every piece of setup that the movie needed was there. Some artistic liberties are allowed, sure, but what do we get instead? The dwarves, well most of them, embark on this absolutely ludicrous escapade within the caverns of the mountain, working all sorts of mechanisms as they zipline and boogie board their way through this elaborate strategy to build this massive gold piece of vanity. Absolutely all of Smaug's thread is lost here. He goes from utterly terrifying to completely incompetent as he's shown to be totally unable to deal with even one of the dwarves. Then, sick of the dwarves' nonsense, he connects the dots and decides to attack Lake Town. He hasn't lost the dwarves. He hasn't lost Bilbo. In fact, Bilbo walks right up to only a few feet from him. It's like the dragon just gets bored and wants to stop fooling around with them and do some real damage. Then, everything comes to a halt as their ridiculous endgame plan is revealed. This statue thing which melts all over him, and this enrages him further and all, but he was already going to Lake Town. He had already given up on them, despite them still being right there in the caverns with him. It's no longer about the dragon's pride. There's no hubris. And the whole bit about this little dude besting a completely insurmountable foe is wasted, utterly absent from the story now. The dwarves' plan doesn't work, and then the dragon leaves to move the plot forward. Then yeah, we get a cliffhanger before the story continues with part 3. Now, I could go on to talk about how a thrush overhears from Bilbo how Smaug can be brought down, then in Lake Town's final moments passes the message to Bard, who then takes aim with a bow and arrow to shoot his last and normal-sized arrow at the weak spot, bringing him down. But I won't. Even though that's way better than this overwrought story about a ballistic arrow breaking off part of his armor and another one just like it being the only way to bring him down. And how does he do it? By using his son as a support for this piece of artillery that he, on the fly, mind you, shoots at the dragon. That part's stupid, yes. But it's nothing compared to ruining the theme that pushes the whole conflict forward. The war, the treasure, Lake Town, Bilbo as a character, the dwarves, all of it moves forward because of the amazing conflict between Bilbo and Smaug. And the idea of some corporate exec saying, make the dwarves fight him a bit first, just kills me. I don't know if that's what happened, but they didn't get it. They didn't get it. And I feel like all the other pieces fell away as aftershocks from this crucial misunderstanding. I fully understand that this will bring about all sorts of feelings about the books, the movies, the wins, the losses, and I say bring it on. Do I completely misunderstand the book? Did I miss the hidden genius of the trilogy? Let me know in the comments below. And remember, I love you guys. We'll talk soon.